Hello, all you lovely people out there. How are you doing? I'm Kate Hill and I am here as always to give you the best, unbiased, honest commentary about the property markets, along with fantastic hints and tips as we go. Now, I don't know about you, but I can't entirely tell the difference between the husband haircut and the professional one, so I think we'll keep him on. What do you reckon? Anyway, stay tuned for all your latest property news. Now, last week, APRA announced some changes to the lending standards that will affect everyone trying to borrow money for a property purchase. Now, I've done a whole separate video with Tina Howes from SmartMove on what's happened and what it means. So be sure to check this out right here. Okay, so assuming you have now watched that video, and if you haven't, go and watch it now or after this one, about those new lending standards. It could take several months for the maximum impact of APRA's increased serviceability test to be realised, according to the Reserve Bank of Australia, the RBA, and their latest financial stability review. This comes just days after the regulator sent a letter to all authorised deposit-taking institutions advising lenders that it will assess the ability of new borrowers to meet their loan repayments at an interest rate of 3%. Above the loan product rate. The RBA review said that this is an appropriate response to target the extent and type of systemic risks that have been building. However, the bank said it could take some lenders several weeks to adjust to the new settings, and some households will have already planned or committed to purchase based on previous lending policies. Indirect effects may take even longer than the direct effects, although changes in potential buyers' expectations could bring forward the impact of the policy change. And I do recommend you go and watch my video. Our dwelling values have risen 20.3% in the last 12 months, headed by a 23.1% increase in the combined regional markets, according to the latest figures from CoreLogic. House prices rose 22.9% in the year to the 1st of October, with the regions up 23.4%. Unit prices rose on average 12%, but with a 21.5% uplift in the regions. 10 of the 15 market jurisdictions across Australia have recorded house price growth above 20%, headed by Sydney at 28.9%, Canberra 28%, regional Tasmania 27%, and regional New South Wales also 27%. The weakest growth recorded was a 12.8% rise in house prices in the regional Northern Territories. The weakest in the capital cities was an 18% annual increase in Melbourne. In September, there was an average rise in house prices of 1.5%, with regional New South Wales, Canberra, and Hobart all recording 2% or more growth. In the September quarter, house prices nationally rose 5.1%, while units rose 3.5% nationally, but 5.5% in regional markets, headed by 8% in regional Tasmania. Although growth conditions remain positive, it is becoming increasingly clear that the housing market moved past its peak rate of growth in March, when national dwelling values increased by 2.8%. Since that time, the monthly rate of growth has eased back to 1.5%. New housing commencements have hit a record high, with data released by the Australian Bureau of Statistics revealing over 64,000 dwelling commencements occurred during the June quarter, which is a rise of 23.2%. This is the highest quarter of commencement records since the ABS began the dwelling commencement series in 1984. Pro rata, this rate of growth equates to about 260,000 homes a year, higher than the 234,000 a year commencements recorded during the 2016 financial year. Stimulated, amongst other things, by home builder and record low interest rates, over 212,000 housing starts nationally occurred over the financial year, about 100,000 more than the forecasts originally made early last year. Power Housing Australia suggest that across the capitals and against the world's longest lockdowns, the Victorian commencements sees them outbuild every other state in the financial year to 2021 to contribute to this record activity. New South Wales and the Sydney activity is picking up momentum in the last quarter with 19,860 commencements compared to their activity earlier in the year. South Australia also recorded a 13,799 new starts, the highest ever year of residential commencements for that state. Earlier this year, it was revealed that South Australia recorded the most home builder applications per capita. You might remember that from my videos at the time. Okay, as always, when house prices increase significantly, there is talk of crashes and bubbles. They go together like Netflix and Squid Game. Over the past year, we have seen housing prices increase by more than 20%, the fastest annual growth since June 1989, even with lockdown measures because of the pandemic, obviously. Since the pandemic began, the RBA slashed the cash rate to a record low of 0.1% and rolled out a quantitative easing program in an effort to support economic activity. In October's board meeting, the RBA announced that the maintenance of a 0.1% cash rate with a plan to continue purchasing government securities at the rate of $4 billion a week until at least mid-February 2022. The RBA's monetary easing program, along with international domestic border closures, and more importantly, demand hike and supply scarcity, have all played a role in driving up this red-hot market across Australia. The monetary easing program in Australia has driven down mortgage rates, making housing loans more affordable for the buyer. But we've also got a lot more cash around, let's not forget that. Home loan growth is now superseding growth in incomes, causing RBA concerns over the potential destabilisation of the financial system. In fact, over a fifth of new loans in the June quarter have accounted for more than 6 times the borrower's income, as I have reported before. So, as the housing market continues to get hotter, the RBA has urged the banks to maintain lending disciplines. Remember, APRA tightened restrictions on home lending with an increase in that minimum interest rate buffer that they use on home loan applications from 2.5 to 3 percentage points. However, with the RBA forecasting unlikely monetary policy tightening until April 24, the regulatory push from APRA may not be sufficient to cool buyer demand. So, in the current market, the RBA noted, higher prices have improved the financial resilience of existing indebted borrowers. But I'm also reading things like, if the red-hot housing market doesn't cool down, the result could be a burst housing bubble, a dramatic fall of investors leaving the housing market, and a price crash would leave homeowners with significant burdens, particularly those who have purchased overvalued property. So, here we go again. Please do be mindful when you read or listen to stuff like this. It is clickbait. It is all ifs and buts. Why would there be a dramatic fall in investors? Investors have not been the people who are buying most of the property at the moment. Why would there be a housing crash? Think this through. It doesn't make any sense. Now, I will keep you posted on all things property from around Australia, as you know, as the year progresses. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe and the like button if you are enjoying my free content, and I will see you all really soon. Bye.